You've never heard the story I'm bringing you today before. The Young and the Restless spoilers, Kyle's devastating discovery, Claire's secret affair with Holden blows up in L.A. The Young and the Restless spoilers and updates reveal that Kyle Abbott, Michael Mueller, may stumble upon Claire Newman, Hayley Erin, and Holden Novak, Nathan Owens, sharing a bed. Is it possible that Kyle's L.A. endeavor will end in tragedy and heartbreak? Want more of The Young and the Restless? Get updates on the latest news about The Young and the Restless, straight to your inbox. We use your personal data for interest-based advertising, as outlined in our privacy notice. What is this? Report ad. Audra's been pushing Kyle's buttons about Claire's trip with Holden. After Audra Charles, Zuleika Silver, gets under Kyle's skin about Claire's time in Los Angeles with Holden, he will have to make a pivotal choice. Kyle is unwilling to just sit back while Holden works on convincing Claire to be with him instead. It seems Kyle hasn't learned from all those moments when he pressured Claire, which ended in spectacular failure. You would think Kyle would realize that this tactic is ineffective by now, but he keeps making poor choices regarding Claire. Although Jack Abbott, Peter Bergman, and Diane Jenkins Abbott, Susan Walters, may try to intervene, Y&R spoilers reveal that Kyle's decision will be final. Kyle will plan to fly to Los Angeles to win Claire back, but he might get a rude awakening. The plan is to fly to LA and do everything possible to win Claire back, but Kyle might face a harsh reality. Claire is now single after officially ending her relationship with Kyle, giving her the freedom to pursue whatever she desires with Holden. What is this? Report ad. This could include getting intimate if she decides to. Naturally, Claire's last argument with Kyle has stirred her emotions, potentially making her even more resolute in carving out her own journey. All of Kyle's cautions regarding Holden might push Claire to prove a point, leading her to escalate things with Holden swiftly. Kyle could stalk out Claire's hotel room and walk in on her with Holden. It's not hard to picture Kyle discovering Claire's hotel and room number once he arrives in Los Angeles, but he won't like to see what he might walk in on. He might knock on Claire's door only to find her in revealing attire with Holden, clearly indicating that they've been intimate. Holden could open the door without a shirt, mistaking it for room service, while Claire lounges nearby in lingerie or something similar. On the other hand, Kyle might successfully obtain a keycard, intending to surprise Claire with a romantic gesture in her room. However, he could be the one caught off guard if Claire's with Holden. In any case, The Young and the Restless spoilers suggest that Kyle's visit could bring some shocking news, so stay tuned for all the latest drama. Be sure to catch up on everything happening with Y&R right now. Come back here often for The Young and the Restless spoilers, news, and updates. The Young and the Restless spoilers, Kyle's devastating discovery, Claire's secret affair with Holden blows up in LA. Genoa City is no stranger to betrayal, heartbreak, and shocking twists, but even longtime fans might not be prepared for the emotional earthquake about to rock the lives of Kyle Abbott and Claire Grace. What starts as a seemingly innocent business trip to Los Angeles turns into a full-blown scandal that threatens not just a romance, but the fragile peace within the Abbott family. Claire's secret affair with Holden, a charismatic newcomer with a mysterious past, is about to come to light, and when it does, the fallout could change everything for Kyle, Summer, and the Abbotts forever. It all begins with a series of subtle but suspicious changes in Claire's behavior. Ever since she accepted Victor's proposal to work closely with Newman Media's new West Coast division, Claire has been splitting her time between Genoa City and Los Angeles. Kyle, ever the supportive boyfriend, told himself that this would be good for her career. He admired her ambition, her determination to stand on her own. But in the back of his mind, something felt off. Claire's late-night calls, her vague explanations, her sudden reluctance to discuss her day, all of it began to gnaw at him. Kyle tried to convince himself that he was just being paranoid, haunted by his past with Summer and his own history of betrayal. But as whispers started circulating in Los Angeles about Claire's close relationship with her coworker Holden Ross, those doubts turned into dread. Holden Ross entered the picture like a California storm, charming, handsome, confident, and just dangerous enough to make people take notice. A consultant for Newman Media with a flair for marketing and a past tied to Hollywood's glitz, Holden was the kind of man who could make anyone feel like the only person in the room. When Claire began collaborating with him on a campaign for a luxury brand launch, sparks flew, both professionally and personally. Holden saw in Claire someone who understood pain, redemption, and ambition. She, in turn, found in him a confidant who didn't see her as the damaged girl from her past, but as the woman she was becoming. Their connection started with long brainstorming sessions, turned into late-night dinners, and before long, lines blurred. One impulsive night in Los Angeles changed everything, and that one night of passion soon spiraled into a dangerous secret affair. Back in Genoa City, Kyle began noticing inconsistencies. Claire claimed she was attending meetings, but he received word from an associate that Newman's schedule had been reshuffled. He found receipts from restaurants she'd never mentioned, hotel bills that didn't align with her itinerary. At first, he dismissed it. Maybe it was work-related, he told himself. But when he flew out to LA, unexpectedly to surprise her, his world came crashing down. Kyle arrived at the upscale rooftop bar where Claire and Holden were rumored to have meetings. What he saw stopped him cold: Claire and Holden, sitting close, laughing like lovers sharing private jokes, her hand brushing his. It wasn't just a friendly gesture. It was intimate, comfortable, like two people who had crossed a line and couldn't go back. When Claire looked up and saw Kyle standing there, the color drained from her face. That moment, frozen in shock, was all it took. Kyle walked away, his heart shattered, his mind spinning. In the days that followed, Claire tried to reach him, to explain, but how do you explain the unexplainable? How do you justify betraying someone who trusted you completely? Rumors began flying through Newman Media and the Abbott circle. Word of the affair spread faster than wildfire. Victor Newman was furious, not because of the scandal itself, but because of how it could damage his company's image. Nikki was heartbroken for Claire, whom she'd come to love like family, while Victoria felt torn between supporting her niece and holding her accountable. Jack Abbott, meanwhile, found himself once again trying to pick up the pieces of his son's broken heart. He'd seen Kyle devastated before, when Summer left, when Tara's lies destroyed him, but this was different. This time, Kyle had let his guard down completely, believing that Claire was his second chance at love. Summer, still navigating her own complicated feelings for Kyle, couldn't help but feel conflicted. On one hand, she knew the pain he was going through. On the other, she couldn't ignore the tiny flicker of hope that maybe fate was bringing them back together. Claire, racked with guilt, struggled to understand how she'd let things get so far. Holden, meanwhile, was unapologetic, insisting that what they shared was real, that he loved her, that she deserved better than being defined by her past. But when Newman higher-ups caught wind of the scandal, Holden's position was suddenly under review, and Claire was left to face the professional consequences of her choices. As the affair exploded into the open, Kyle withdrew. Friends and family tried to reach him, but he retreated into himself, focusing on work and shutting down emotionally. He couldn't bear the thought of seeing Claire, of hearing her apologies. Every memory of their time together felt tainted, every promise broken. The once proud Abbott heir looked lost, struggling to make sense of how everything had unraveled so quickly. Yet beneath the heartbreak, there was a simmering anger, not just at Claire, but at himself for letting his guard down. The next confrontation between Kyle and Claire was raw and explosive. She showed up at the Abbott mansion, desperate for closure. Her eyes were swollen from crying, her voice trembling as she tried to explain that what happened with Holden just happened, that she hadn't planned it. But Kyle wasn't in the mood for excuses. "You didn't plan it? You just fell into his bed because it was convenient," he shot back, his voice breaking with emotion. Claire tried to tell him that it was confusion, that Holden had been there when she felt alone, that it didn't mean she didn't love Kyle. But those words only cut deeper. "If you loved me," he said quietly, "you wouldn't have done this." With those words, Kyle walked away, leaving Claire standing in tears, realizing that she had destroyed the one good thing she'd built in Genoa City. Meanwhile, Holden faced his own reckoning. Victor Newman, ever the strategist, called him in for a meeting. Behind closed doors, Victor made it clear that he had no tolerance for disloyalty or scandal under his watch. "You've made your mark in LA, Mr. Ross," Victor said icily, "but not the kind I appreciate." Holden tried to defend himself, claiming that his relationship with Claire was personal, not professional. But Victor wasn't buying it. Within days, Holden's contract was terminated. Newman Media issued a quiet statement about organizational restructuring, while Holden packed up and left Los Angeles. But the damage was done. For Claire, the repercussions weren't just professional, they were deeply personal. Nikki, though heartbroken, urged her to come home and face the music. "You can't hide from what happened," Nikki said softly. "You have to make amends, not excuses." Claire agreed, returning to Genoa City to try to rebuild her life, but rebuilding would prove far harder than she expected. Kyle, meanwhile, found himself at a crossroads. With his heart shattered, he threw himself into his work at Jabot, determined not to let his pain define him. Jack, ever the voice of wisdom, urged him to find forgiveness someday, if only for his own peace. "We've all made mistakes, son," Jack told him. "What matters is what you do next." But Kyle wasn't ready to forgive, not yet. The affair had reopened old wounds, reigniting his insecurities and mistrust. For Claire, redemption would be an uphill battle. Though she tried to focus on her career and therapy, the whispers in Genoa City followed her everywhere. Some people sympathized, others judged harshly. Summer, despite everything, reached out to her one day, not to scold but to offer a bit of understanding. "We've both made mistakes with Kyle," she said. "The question is, what do we learn from them?" That unexpected kindness sparked something in Claire, a determination to become better, to take responsibility, and to make amends not through words, but through actions. As the dust settled, one thing became clear: Genoa City would never be the same again. The Kyle-Claire Holden scandal had left deep scars, on hearts, reputations, and families. Yet in true The Young and the Restless fashion, where heartbreak and hope are forever intertwined, this painful chapter may set the stage for new beginnings. Could Kyle eventually forgive Claire? Could Holden return seeking revenge or redemption? And might this chaos lead Kyle and Summer to rediscover the love that never truly died between them? One thing's for certain, the drama is far from over. Because in Genoa City, secrets never stay buried for long, and love has a way of returning when you least expect it. The next act of this tangled saga promises more twists, more passion, and perhaps even the kind of second chances that only The Young and the Restless can deliver. The Young and the Restless spoilers. Audra's been pushing Kyle's buttons about Claire's trip with Holden. Jealousy, manipulation, and explosive consequences shake Genoa City. Genoa City is heating up again, and this time the flames of jealousy, temptation, and manipulation are threatening to consume Kyle Abbott. As if his relationship with Claire Grace wasn't already facing challenges, enter Audra Charles, the seductive, cunning, and dangerously intelligent woman who knows exactly how to stir the pot. Audra's been watching, waiting, and pushing all the right buttons, and her latest target is none other than Kyle's growing insecurity about Claire's mysterious business trip to Los Angeles with Holden Ross. What begins as a few harmless comments soon spirals into a full-blown psychological war, leaving Kyle reeling and Audra one step closer to reclaiming control of her former flame. It's a classic Genoa City powder keg, and when it explodes, no one will be left unscathed. The tension starts innocently enough. Kyle has been trying to be the supportive partner, convincing himself that Claire's trip with Holden is purely professional. After all, Claire's working hard to establish herself as a legitimate force within the Newman empire, and Holden, a charismatic marketing consultant, is part of that journey. But even as Kyle reassures himself that there's nothing to worry about, a familiar voice begins whispering in his ear, Audra Charles. Ever since Audra's power play at Newman Media fell apart, she's been carefully repositioning herself in Genoa City. She's no stranger to ambition or revenge, and she knows how to read people's weaknesses. Kyle's weakness, of course, is his heart, and right now, that heart belongs to Claire. When Audra first approaches Kyle, she's subtle. A comment here, a question there. So, Claire's in LA with Holden again? They seem to be spending a lot of time together, she says casually, her voice smooth, her eyes full of feigned innocence. Kyle shrugs it off, but her words linger. Audra knows exactly what she's doing, planting seeds of doubt and watering them with every sly smile. By the time Kyle checks social media and sees photos from the LA trip, Holden and Claire side by side at a corporate gala, the jealousy she's been feeding begins to take root. Audra continues her campaign with precision, always finding ways to make Kyle second-guess Claire's loyalty. You know, she tells him one evening at Society, Holden has quite the reputation with women in the industry. I'd hate to see Claire's name tied up in that kind of gossip. People talk. It's manipulative, deliberate, and effective. Kyle tries to stay calm, but his mind races. He remembers the last time he ignored red flags, when Tara lied about Harrison, when Summer walked away, when his world fell apart. He can't shake the fear that it's happening again. Meanwhile, Audra is enjoying every minute. She's always been skilled at emotional chess, and this time, she's playing both sides, comforting Kyle while subtly undermining Claire. Her motives aren't purely romantic. Sure, there's an undeniable attraction between her and Kyle, there always has been, but this is about power and satisfaction. Watching Kyle unravel gives her the upper hand, and if it leads to another passionate encounter between them, all the better. As the days go on, Kyle's frustration builds. He starts calling Claire more often, questioning her schedule, her meetings, her time with Holden. Claire, caught off guard, insists that everything is strictly business, but Kyle's tone turns sharp. If it's just business, why do you sound so defensive, he asks one night. The argument that follows leaves both of them angry and wounded. Claire hangs up, hurt that Kyle doesn't trust her. Kyle, meanwhile, storms into Society, where Audra just happens to be waiting. Rough night, she asks, her lips curling into a knowing smile. Don't tell me you two are fighting over Holden. Her feigned sympathy only fuels his anger. I just don't understand why she's always with him, Kyle mutters, slamming back his drink. Every time I call, she's busy. Every time I text, she takes hours to reply. It's like she doesn't even care. Audra leans closer, lowering her voice. Maybe she doesn't, she whispers. Maybe she's not the woman you think she is. That moment marks a turning point. Kyle's trust begins to crumble, and Audra's influence grows stronger. Soon, she's positioning herself as his confidant, the one person who gets it. They start spending more time together, dinners, late-night drinks, strategy sessions at Jabot that always seem to stretch longer than necessary. The tension between them simmers beneath the surface until one night, it boils over. In a moment of weakness, Kyle kisses her. It's impulsive, angry, born out of jealousy and confusion, but it changes everything. Audra, of course, plays innocent afterward. We shouldn't have done that, she says softly, her eyes gleaming with satisfaction. You're hurting. I understand. But deep down, she's achieved exactly what she wanted. The line between Kyle's heartbreak and her manipulation has blurred beyond recognition. Meanwhile, back in Los Angeles, Claire remains unaware of the chaos brewing back home. Her partnership with Holden has been strictly professional, though Holden, ever the flirt, hasn't exactly hidden his admiration. He's charming, attentive, and he makes Claire feel appreciated in a way Kyle hasn't lately. There's no affair, not yet, but the chemistry between them is undeniable. When Claire returns to Genoa City, she can sense the tension immediately. Kyle is distant, cold, suspicious. Audra's words have done their job well. Did you have a nice time in LA? He asks icily. Claire smiles, oblivious to the trap. It was productive. We made some great progress with the campaign. I'm sure you did, Kyle replies, his tone dripping with sarcasm. Holden must have been very helpful. The fight that follows is brutal. Claire accuses him of being paranoid and controlling, while Kyle fires back that she's hiding something. You think I don't see it, he yells. The late-night calls, the way you talk about him, you think I'm blind? Claire, stunned and furious, storms out, leaving Kyle stewing in anger, and Audra ready to make her next move. Jack Abbott, ever the wise patriarch, notices what's happening and tries to intervene. Kyle, don't let jealousy ruin your judgment, he warns. Audra thrives on chaos. Don't let her pull you back into her web. But Kyle, blinded by emotion, doesn't listen. He insists he's just seeing things clearly for the first time. Audra, meanwhile, keeps playing both sides. She comforts Kyle in private, then drops subtle hints to others about Claire and Holden's closeness, ensuring the gossip spreads like wildfire. By the time Claire learns that people are whispering about her and Holden, her career is on the line. Furious, she confronts Audra in the middle of society, and the confrontation is explosive. You've been trying to destroy me since day one. Claire shouts. You're pathetic. Audra smirks, cool and unbothered. Oh, sweetheart, I don't have to destroy you. You're doing that all by yourself. The scene is pure soap gold, two powerful women, one manipulating, the other fighting for her reputation, and a man caught helplessly in between. As the fallout spreads, Kyle begins to realize he's been played. Jack's words echo in his mind, and when he finally confronts Audra, the truth comes crashing down. You wanted this, he says bitterly. You wanted me angry, jealous, and miserable. Audra doesn't deny it. Maybe I just wanted you to remember what we had, she says softly. Or maybe I wanted to remind you that not every woman is as honest as you think. Kyle, disgusted, walks away, but the damage is already done. His relationship with Claire may not survive this latest storm, and Audra, once again, has left chaos in her wake. In the aftermath, Kyle is forced to confront his own demons. Why does he always fall for manipulation? Why does he let jealousy control him? Jack encourages him to take a step back, to find clarity before making any decisions. You've got to decide who you want to be, son, Jack says. The man who lets others push his buttons, or the man who learns to rise above it. As for Audra, she doesn't see herself as the villain. In her mind, she's just exposing the truth, or at least her version of it. I didn't make Kyle doubt Claire, she tells Nate one evening over drinks. I just gave him a reason to see what was already there. But in Genoa City, nothing stays hidden for long. Claire, determined to prove her innocence and reclaim her dignity, vows to fight back. She's not going to let Audra or anyone else define her story. As the dust settles, all three players, Kyle, Claire, and Audra, are left standing in the emotional wreckage. Hearts are broken, alliances are shifting, and the game is far from over. The stage is set for a new round of betrayal, redemption, and maybe even revenge. Because in Genoa City, love isn't just a feeling, it's a battlefield. And with Audra Charles still in the mix, no one can predict who will come out on top. But one thing's for certain, the drama is only just beginning. The young and the restless spoilers, Kyle will plan to fly to Los Angeles to win Claire back, but he might get a rude awakening. Genoa City has seen its fair share of broken hearts, impulsive choices, and desperate second chances, but nothing could prepare Kyle Abbott for the emotional roller coaster he's about to ride. After the explosive fallout with Claire Grace and the manipulative mind games courtesy of Audra Charles, Kyle finally realizes that his feelings for Claire run deeper than pride or anger. He's made mistakes, let jealousy cloud his judgment, and allowed others to manipulate his emotions. But this time, Kyle decides he's not going to lose another woman he loves without a fight. The problem? Claire may no longer be the same woman he's trying to win back. Because in Los Angeles, she's finding her own independence, and perhaps, a new kind of connection that Kyle isn't ready to face. The story begins in the aftermath of chaos. Claire, hurt and humiliated by Kyle's accusations, fled Genoa City to clear her head and focus on her work at Newman Media's West Coast division. Her partnership with Holden Ross, the charming and confident marketing consultant, has been the subject of endless gossip, fueled by whispers from Audra and suspicion from Kyle. But in truth, Claire didn't go to LA to escape Kyle, she went to escape the noise, the judgment, and the pain that came from being constantly questioned. Meanwhile, back in Genoa City, Kyle can't shake the guilt. Every corner of the Abbott mansion reminds him of Claire, her laughter, her smile, the way she challenged him to be better. Jack notices the tension in his son and confronts him about it. "You can't keep living in the past, son," Jack advises gently. "If you love her, fight for her. But if you go after her, you better be ready for whatever truth you find." Those words stick with Kyle, and after days of sleepless nights, he makes a decision: he's going to LA to win Claire back. His mind is set, his heart hopeful. But little does he know, his romantic gesture might not end with the reunion he's dreaming of. As Kyle books his flight, Genoa City buzzes with speculation. Summer Newman, ever the voice of reason, warns him not to rush. "You think showing up unannounced is going to fix everything?" she asks. "What if she's moved on?" Kyle bristles at the suggestion, but the doubt lingers. Even still, he tells himself this is his shot at redemption, his chance to prove to Claire that he's not the man who doubted her, but the one who's ready to trust her completely. On the flight to Los Angeles, Kyle plays out 1,000 scenarios in his head. He imagined surprising her at her office, apologizing, maybe even rekindling what they had. He pictures her smiling when she sees him, forgiving him for everything. But reality, as always, has other plans. When Kyle arrives in LA, he goes straight to Newman Media's West Coast headquarters. He expects to find Claire at her desk, immersed in work. Instead, he finds her assistant, who tells him Claire is out at a client event, with Holden Ross. The words hit him like a punch to the gut. Holden again. Kyle's jealousy flares, but he swallows it back, determined to stay calm. He asks for the event location, and before long, he's on his way to a glamorous rooftop venue overlooking downtown Los Angeles. As he steps onto the rooftop, the city lights shimmering behind him, his heart starts to race. There she is, Claire, radiant in a sleek black dress, laughing at something Holden just said. They look comfortable, at ease, and completely unaware of Kyle's presence. It's a picture that makes his stomach twist. For a moment, he freezes. He came here to fight for her, but what if he's already lost her? What if she's moved on, not just from the pain, but from him entirely? Still, Kyle gathers his courage and approaches. The crowd parts slightly as he walks toward her. Claire turns, her smile fading when she sees him. Shock, confusion, and something else, maybe sadness, flicker across her face. "Kyle?" she breathes, clearly caught off guard. "What are you doing here?" "I had to see you," he says softly, his voice trembling. "I couldn't let things end the way they did. I needed to tell you I'm sorry, for everything." Holden, standing protectively nearby, raises an eyebrow. "Maybe this isn't the time or place," he interjects smoothly. Kyle shoots him a look that could cut sharply. The tension between the two men is palpable, but Claire steps between them, her tone firm. "It's okay, Holden. I've got this." As Holden backs off, Kyle finally has a chance to speak his heart. He tells her how much he regrets letting jealousy come between them, how he allowed Audra's manipulation to twist his mind. "I should have trusted you," he says. "You didn't deserve my doubt. You deserved my faith." Claire listens silently, her eyes soft but guarded. When he finishes, there's a long pause before she finally responds. "I appreciate that, Kyle," she says quietly. "But things have changed. I've changed." Her words hit like ice water. She explains that her time in Los Angeles has given her clarity, not just about him, but about herself. She realized that she's been defining her happiness through other people's approval for too long. "You weren't the only one who let fear control you," she admits. "I did too. I kept trying to prove I was worthy of love, of forgiveness, of belonging. But I don't need to do that anymore." Kyle tries to protest, insisting they can start over, but she shakes her head. "You're not listening," she says softly. "I'm not saying I don't care about you. I do. But right now, I need to figure out who I am without being someone's redemption story." The honesty in her voice cuts deep. Kyle realizes that no grand gesture can undo what's been broken. He came expecting forgiveness and found truth instead, a truth that hurts, but one he needed to hear. The moment is made even more painful when Holden returns to check on her, placing a hand on her shoulder. There's nothing romantic in the gesture, but to Kyle, it's a reminder that Claire has found stability somewhere else, emotionally, if not romantically. "Looks like you've got people here who care about you," Kyle says quietly, forcing a small smile. I wanted you to know I'm sorry. And I'll always wish you the best." With that, he turns and walks away, his heart breaking all over again under the bright Los Angeles lights. But his departure doesn't go unnoticed. Claire watches him go, tears glistening in her eyes. As much as she's grown, part of her still loves him. Yet she knows that loving him isn't enough, not right now. Back in Genoa City, word spreads that Kyle's trip didn't go as planned. Jack, though sympathetic, tells his son that sometimes love means letting go. "Maybe this wasn't your ending," Jack says. "Maybe it's just part of your story." Kyle throws himself back into work, determined to rebuild his life and learn from his mistakes. But the ache remains, the ache of loving someone who's moved forward while he's still standing still. Meanwhile, in Los Angeles, Claire's career thrives. Her partnership with Holden grows stronger, and though there's no official romance between them, yet, their chemistry is undeniable. Still, there are moments when she catches herself thinking about Kyle, about what they shared, about what might have been. In true The Young and the Restless fashion, the story doesn't end neatly. Claire may return to Genoa City someday, or Kyle may find a reason to go back to Los Angeles. Fate has a funny way of throwing people back into each other's orbit just when they least expect it. For now, Kyle's rude awakening serves as a painful but necessary lesson, that love isn't something you win through persistence or apology alone. Sometimes, the only way to truly love someone is to let them go, even if your heart refuses to follow. Still, Genoa City isn't done with Kyle and Claire's story, not by a long shot. Because in this town, the past has a habit of resurfacing, and unfinished love stories have a way of finding their way back to center stage. Whether that reunion will be sweet or bittersweet remains to be seen. But one thing's for certain, Kyle's trip to Los Angeles may not have brought him the ending he wanted, but it's awakened something much deeper, a man ready to face his flaws, reclaim his strength, and perhaps, one day, fight for love the right way. The Young and the Restless spoilers, Kyle could stalk out Claire's hotel room and walk in on her with Holden. Genoa City's most complicated love triangle is about to explode in a way no one saw coming. Kyle Abbott, already pushed to the edge by jealousy and heartbreak, might soon make a shocking move that could change everything, and not for the better. With his emotions spiraling out of control and his trust in Claire Grace hanging by a thread, Kyle's desperation could drive him to a decision that will have devastating consequences. Rumor has it that Kyle will follow his heart, and his suspicions, all the way to Los Angeles, where he could end up doing something that crosses a dangerous line, stalking out Claire's hotel room and walking in on her in a compromising moment with Holden Ross. It's the kind of impulsive, heart-wrenching twist that only The Young and the Restless can deliver, and the fallout will shake both the Abbotts and the Newmans to their core. It all starts with Kyle's fragile emotional state after his breakup with Claire. His trust was already shattered by Audra Charles's manipulative games and whispers about Claire's supposed closeness with Holden. Every rumor, every piece of gossip has fueled his insecurity and anger. But beneath the jealousy is a deeper wound, the fear of losing another woman he truly loves. Jack Abbott tries to calm his son down, urging him to stay rational. "Don't make the same mistake twice, Kyle," Jack warns. "You let your emotions drive you before. Don't do it again." But Kyle isn't thinking clearly. He's haunted by what he's heard, that Claire's been spending late nights with Holden, that the two were seen dining together, that they're staying in the same hotel while working on Newman Media's Los Angeles project. The thought of her with another man becomes unbearable. As the nights drag on and his jealousy festers, Kyle convinces himself he needs to see for himself what's really going on. He tells no one, not even Jack or Summer, that he's flying to LA again. All he knows is that he can't sit in Genoa City one more night imagining Claire in Holden's arms. When he lands in Los Angeles, his emotions are a storm: anger, love, regret, and desperation all tangled together. He checks into a hotel near the Newman Media branch, determined to confront her but unsure how to approach it. Then he hears from a contact at Newman Media: Claire and Holden are staying at the same luxury hotel, working late on presentations for the following morning's pitch. That's all the confirmation Kyle needs. His jealousy turns into resolve. He drives to the hotel under the cover of night, his heart pounding as he steps into the elegant lobby. The receptionist greets him politely, unaware of the turmoil brewing beneath his calm exterior. He knows Claire's room number, information he shouldn't have, but he got it anyway through a few quiet inquiries. When he steps off the elevator, the quiet hallway seems to echo his heartbeat. Every step feels heavier than the last. He stands outside her door, his hand hovering near the knob. He tells himself he's just going to knock, to talk, to make her see that they still belong together. But then he hears it: laughter. A man's laughter. Holden's. Followed by Claire's soft voice. The sound hits Kyle like a dagger. His mind races, painting vivid pictures of betrayal. Every insecurity he's ever buried comes roaring back. Before he can stop himself, he tries the handle. It's unlocked. And in a moment of reckless impulse, Kyle pushes the door open. What he sees inside stops him cold. Claire and Holden are sitting close on the couch, champagne glasses in hand, a bottle open on the table between them. Holden's arm rests casually along the back of the couch, his body angled toward her. It's not overtly intimate, not yet, but the atmosphere is warm, comfortable, and charged. Claire, startled, jumps to her feet when she sees Kyle standing in the doorway. "Kyle," she gasps, her voice a mixture of shock and confusion. "What are you doing here?" Holden rises too, his easygoing demeanor quickly replaced by protective irritation. "You shouldn't be here, man," Holden says firmly. "This is crossing a line." But Kyle isn't listening. He's hurt, humiliated, and furious. "So this is what you've been doing," he snaps. "I came all the way out here to find out the truth, and here it is, you and him, drinking in your hotel room like nothing's wrong." Claire's expression shifts from shock to anger. "You have no right to be here," she fires back. "You followed me? You broke into my room? Don't act like the victim," Kyle shoots back. "You've been lying to me for weeks. You said it was all business, but it looks pretty personal to me." The tension is electric. Holden steps closer, trying to defuse the situation but only escalating Kyle's rage. "You need to leave," Holden says, his tone firm but calm. "This isn't the place for this conversation." Kyle turns on him, his voice sharp and low. "Stay out of this. This is between me and Claire." Holden doesn't back down. "Not when you show up uninvited and start throwing accusations." The two men lock eyes, the tension thick enough to cut. "Claire," realizing how quickly things could spiral out of control, steps between them. "Stop it. Both of you," she cries. "Kyle, this is insane. You're acting like someone I don't even recognize." Her words sting. For a moment, Kyle's anger falters, replaced by something rawer, heartbreak. "I just needed to know," he says quietly, his voice breaking. "I needed to see for myself." Tears well in Claire's eyes, but her tone is steady. "You didn't see anything, Kyle. You saw what you wanted to see. You let jealousy control you again, and now look where it's gotten you." Holden gently places his hand on her shoulder, a gesture meant to calm her, but to Kyle, it's the final straw. He clenches his fists, struggling to hold back his emotions. "You know what? Maybe I did make a mistake coming here," he says bitterly. "Because clearly, I'm the only one who still cares enough to fight for us." "No," Claire replies softly, "you're the only one who doesn't know when to stop fighting what's already over." The words cut deeper than she intends, and Kyle stands frozen for a moment, absorbing the final blow. Without another word, he turns and walks out of the room, slamming the door behind him. The silence that follows is deafening. Claire collapses onto the couch, shaken and heartbroken. Holden sits beside her, unsure what to say. "You okay?" he asks gently. She nods, but her eyes glisten with unshed tears. "No," she whispers. "He's not the man I fell for anymore." Down the hall, Kyle leans against the wall, his heart pounding. Reality crashes down around him. He's crossed a line he can't uncross. He's become the very thing he swore he wouldn't, a man consumed by jealousy and fear. The next morning, Kyle wakes up in his hotel room with a pounding headache and a heavier heart. He knows he has to leave Los Angeles, to put distance between himself and the chaos he's created. Before he goes, though, he writes Claire a note, "I'm sorry. I shouldn't have come. I let my pain turn me into someone I don't want to be. I hope someday you'll understand." Back in Genoa City, word of Kyle's confrontation spreads quickly. Audra, ever the opportunist, smirks when she hears the news. "I told him she wasn't worth it," she says smugly to Nate. But some men have to learn the hard way. Jack, however, isn't smiling. He's furious when he learns his son broke into Claire's room. "You've got to get control of yourself, Kyle," Jack warns. "You're not acting like an abbot, you're acting like a man on the edge." Kyle doesn't argue. He knows Jack's right. His obsession with proving Claire's guilt has cost him everything, her love, his dignity, and his peace of mind. Meanwhile, Claire returns to Genoa City a few days later, still shaken by the encounter. She meets with Nikki and Victoria, explaining what happened. Victoria is sympathetic but firm. "You did nothing wrong," she assures her niece. "But you need to be careful. Kyle's emotional state isn't stable right now." Claire nods, determined to move forward. But deep down, she can't shake the image of Kyle's face when he saw her, the hurt, the desperation, the heartbreak. For all the chaos, she still loves him. She just doesn't know if love is enough anymore. The confrontation at the hotel becomes the talk of Genoa City, setting the stage for even bigger drama ahead. Will Kyle hit rock bottom before finding redemption? Will Claire's connection with Holden turn into something real now that Kyle's out of the picture? And will Audra use this chaos to make her own power play, or to reel Kyle back into her web? One thing's for certain, the line between love and obsession has never been thinner. Kyle's reckless decision to follow his heart to Los Angeles has set off a chain reaction that will reverberate through Genoa City for months to come. In true Young and the Restless fashion, heartbreak, redemption, and revenge are about to collide in ways that will leave fans on the edge of their seats. And when the dust finally settles, Kyle Abbott may discover that the real battle isn't for Claire's love, it's for his own soul.